Okay, if anybody watching this video had watched my videos basically during the summer, maybe a little earlier than that, sometime around April to July or around there, might remember the problem I had with a doctor, new to me doctor. Basically, I met the doctor, and I didn't get to say much that first time, and I think that's what it was. The first time, really, he didn't get to say much, and I had my appointment with Adam, and so we were both in the same room, and, they were talking and everything. I didn't get to say much. The next time, I was with Adam again, but this doctor told me that I only get to answer in one-word sentences. One word. I only get to answer when he asks me a question. Oh man, that kind of exploded on him one day. Not really exploded, but yeah, he got it because he invited two young women into an appointment that I had with him with Adam, and he started telling me things like that I should, again, he said this before, forget everything that any doctor had ever told me. He said something similar before. Well, those are major red flags, He had an ego problem, but I did not have the time to get another doctor. I got really sick before then, all this kind of stuff. And, yeah, so I'm really calmly, I'm a very calm person, very calmly let out how I felt about him. And those two witnesses, those trainees, were right there. I didn't invite him in, he did. So that was my appointment, not theirs. To learn. Sorry, doesn't work that way. But anyway, so he was very sexist. Just plain and simple, very sexist. Attitude toward women. What I saw was just me and Adam, but I did see other ones too. Like while waiting, I could go on and on about all that. Plus I'm trained in observation. My master's degree is in sociology, taught at college and university. I have a clue. Was a career student for over 20 years, undergraduate and graduate at university, graduate school. Yeah, that's big time. And so I know what I'm talking about. I made sure I do know what I'm talking about. And this man was very sexist. Well, I met another one, changed doctors, and once again, I met another one, very sexist. So I want to talk about men who, have practices like doctors or whatever. I mean, I don't know everyone. I'm not saying it is everyone. It's not. And I don't know them all, but the ones I have run across that have, over my lifetime, not just recently, who have this attitude that women are supposed to be quiet until they are spoken to and they are asked a question and they can only answer in one-word sentences, and they are going to interrupt in those. Just that one word. This new one, I started to speak and he asked me a question, walked in, he asked me a question, I started speaking, he cut me off. Yeah. And I'm telling you, what is it with these? Now, is it just because it's male? It's a male doctor. I've never had a problem with the females cutting me off or, well, I had one. She belongs to this practice that I'm finding more things out about now. But she has some issues. Really, seriously. She didn't cut me off. She came in, she asked questions, and she walked out. And she said, I'm going to go look for some. She didn't really let me speak. But she walked out and she would say, I'm going to go look for some samples, and then she wouldn't come back. And that's how they make a lot of money. I used to work for surgeons, and man, they would schedule 15 minutes. And you can bet that surgeons probably not going to be on time for any of them. That's what I saw. But anyway, my whole thing is I really want to talk more about people, and it's not just doctors, not just healthcare providers, but I could just focus on that, on them, the ones I've run across, ones I've heard about, ones I read the reviews of, ones I could separate them all. You don't need to see a dog taking a poop, do you? Real life happens in the middle of a video. But, yeah, it's, I mean, just, and people who are this way in person, and I'm not saying that it's always men either. You know, sometimes there are some women who feel like they must be the center of attention. We kind of know what that means, right? And they will do it too. They will do stuff like you have something serious happen in your life, and then they have to they might allow you 1 second just for somebody to feel for you, you know, feel some kind of emotion toward you, but then it has to be turned back on them. So then they say something very insulting, like it was somehow your fault. They'll blame the victim, whatever it is. You know, so they can get the attention. They don't care if it's bad, negative attention, good attention. As long as they're getting attention, they don't care. They can call the people who are saying, really? You speak to someone who just went through that? You talk to them like that? And they say, and they just say, well, those are haters. You know, people who say stuff to me like that, they're just haters. Anyway, I'm gonna go try to get some work done, but I want to speak more on this kind of topic. But watch me not. Maybe this is enough as it is. You know, just the people who this day and age. I mean, even back in the 80s. You know, once I was an adult, I would say, in this day and age, somebody thinks that way. They actually think that, you know, they can tell another person here in the United States, tell anybody, I don't care who the person is, whether they were born here in the United States or not. I mean, the person they're telling to only speak when spoken to. I mean, if it's a judge or a police officer that's saying, shh, you know, something like this, or you know, something like that, you know, something where this person can, you know, actually tell you for your own safety, that's different. But, you know, you see what I'm saying? There are always, you know, quite often, not always, but quite often exceptions to rules with something like that. If a judge says you need to be quiet, you might want to be quiet. You see what I'm saying? Some people are so, just so, I don't want to even say that, but yeah, that they will say, well, the judge can tell you. I'm serious. I've had 60 years of people who are like that kind. Really, they got it. Anyway, but so yeah, I mean, there are some people who now I want to talk about. I also one day want to talk about bosses. I had a boss that he told all of us. But it was funny. It was always the women, but told his office manager, who was a male, who was in the military and had this whole chain of command and attitude about things, that he was a little older than I, told him to let us all know, the people that were in Cubeville, which was mainly women, and that we were not allowed to speak to our cube mates. They're not really cube mates, you know, they had the next cube over. We weren't allowed to speak at all to anybody working there unless we were on our break or lunch or after, before, you know, when we were not on the clock. If we were on the clock, we were not allowed to speak to anybody. We also, as women, and they made sure they pointed that out, couldn't wear shoes that made noises. You see this pause here? See, the owner was extremely sexist, and I informed them. I didn't go through the chain of command. I informed them that I was reporting, and I did. Report it to the government. I went big. I'm not a person that likes expressions, you know, go big or don't go at all or something, whatever. But no, I went big, and I quit. They were so scared of me after that. They're not scared like I was going to do something bad to them, but they were afraid of what else I was going to do as far as telling the government, I guess. I mean, I don't know that they were doing anything illegal, but they were really frightened, scared of me. And I did report them. And unfortunately, that area had a certain, let's just say, I'm independent, but one of them that really didn't care. And anyway, I finally wound up quitting because they treated me like, you know, like a, you know, I was the best person on the planet. They were so sweet. They were kissing up to me and all that. But the other women, they were still treating like crap. And it was just all kinds of wrong for me. And I found them so disgusting. And I wasn't the only one that had noticed how they were treating people. Different in males, different from females. And there was also a guy in there that said something really seriously. He was a supervisor. He was a little younger than I. He said something that was seriously, oh man, I mean, I can't even say it I won't even say it on video, but it was bad. And it was his way of showing women that he had the power and he could do what he wanted to. He was a nice, kind of goofy guy, but then he said that and I was like, oh my gosh, he believes he can say anything to a group of women about what he could do to us. Yeah. Oh man, it might not be as bad as you think, but it was bad. It is. It's not that bad. Just slightly, little bit less than that bad. And but anyway, I finally said I can't take this. I can't stand how they treat these women, other women. And I just said, screw you all, bye, and left. Quit. I didn't tell them screw you all, just quit. It's not worth it. And I found out when I went to lunch with a couple of the women, I don't know how long later, but basically, except for those two women, they got rid of all of the women. I hope. I mean, okay, it's not for me to hope that, but justice needed to be served for this guy. But he had already gotten reported. So if somebody else behind me, after me, because there was this one woman, she was a different ethnic group than I, and she was reporting them for that and sexism too. Around the same time, because of stuff that happened, she and I both, but we didn't talk about it. She and I never talked about it. And but so I guess I already said all I need to say on that too. Not really, but you get the gist. Yeah, the people who have the mentality that they tell women here in the United States. I mean, come on, it's 2023. I mean, then it was not too. I mean, it was years ago, a decade or so. And really, these Neanderthals. Actually, I have views about that. Are they truly Neanderthals or not? But would they be even? I mean, never mind. I have a video somewhere years ago. But ridiculous, people who they're primitive. Let's just put it that way. They're primitive. They have not developed much at all. Have not evolved. Who think that way? And I know one of them. It scares me that he actually is somehow a little bit he thinks he is, but he is a Neanderthal, and he's a professor, or was, or maybe was, or still is, teaching psychology. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not even sure. That's Neanderthal. Or not even, like I said, not Neanderthal, primitive. He's human. Hasn't developed. Yeah, he thinks that there is a difference. But, men are higher. So, wow. Anyway, wrapping up, I'm going to see if I can get any work. It's windy. I might not do anything today. Really didn't want to today, but we'll see.